Good morning. My name is Robert Almy. I want to convene the Dartmouth Board of Public Works meeting of July 24th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded. So I take a roll call. Mr. LaBelle,
Here.
Mr. Gagne,
Present.
Mr. Almy, the chair, that's me. I am present, so we have all members present. All right, so the first order of business is to approve and accept warrants for the bills payable period ending June 30, July 7, July 14th, and July 21st, 2025. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. LaBelle, second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Item is approved. Next item is to approve and accept payrolls for the week ending June 28th, July 5th, 12th, and 19th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. LaBelle, second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Item is approved. Next item is old business A, an update discussion of the comprehensive wastewater management plan. Mr. Barber.
All right. So we've been working on setting some time to complete the RFP for the comprehensive wastewater management plan based on some comments from DEP, coastal zone management, town department heads, and additional comments from the board, including the addition of waterfront communities and priority areas that are currently on septic, the addition of public workshops and the RFP, the water quality assessments from the town, from consultants, from the Buzzards Bay Coalition, from the MEP assessments of Slocum River and the Little River estuaries, the potential areas for highest density build out in town, potential of current non-buildable parcels becoming buildable once sewer is extended to these areas, consumption of water, including cross basin transfer, like purchasing the water from the city in New Bedford, considered a cross basin transfer. So, the consumption of water and that discharge, the status of the outfall, including the impact of increasing any outfall effluent, above our permitted flow, current permanent flow, and the impact to the outfall itself, or whether it has to be replaced or if it could withstand any increases. Again, due to staffing, we've been kind of had a hard time scheduling the update of this RFP, but we're working on filling all the vacancies in our department. We're pretty close, and we've been onboarding personnel and working with them to get some training, and we should have some time to complete most of these revisions in the near future and get this posted.
Board members, any questions?
No.
Tim, when do you anticipate getting the scope and request for proposal out on the street?
I'd like to get it out sometime in August. Be nice.
Will we see this before it goes out?
Yeah, as soon as we have a draft with all the revisions, we will send it to the board for review.
Yeah, just
Right.
one quick one. Why does DEP consider this an interbasin transfer with New Bedford?
Just I guess we're taking water from this city, and then we discharge it, through our outfall. That was one of their comments to include interbasin transfer.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that came from David Burns, yeah.
Yeah, I know, Dave. I just find that hard to believe that doesn't, I mean, we've had an intermunicipal agreement with,
Yeah.
Dartmouth's had an intermunicipal agreement with Bedford for what, 30 years?
Yeah. Yeah, so
And this comes up now? It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Okay,
right, and so they want to put that in as basically part of the data that's to be studied for the CWMP. And, they're looking at also, water consumption and then where's that water going? Are you, where septic will infiltrate into the ground, into the water table, and the rest of the consumption is going out to the outfall to the bay, and then combined with the water use from New Bedford.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board members, any other questions? Okay. So Tim, you'll bring this back to us in the form of a contract to look at?
Yes. Yep.
Um,
As a
and-
proposal for a
Okay,
request
so-
for proposals. Yeah,
All right, so you're gonna have us look at the RFP
yes,
first?
absolutely.
I think it'd be important for us to see that in August and try and get this thing moving then.
I do as well.
All right,
Especially with everything, being proposed and permitted in town. There's a lot of flows coming in, so.
okay, so if there are no other comments or questions from anybody on the call, we'll go on to our next item, which is old business B, discussion of stormwater debris management. Tim?
So we currently do not have a stormwater, I do say storm, a storm debris management plan. But we will be working with the town, with the DPW staff, the Board of Public Works, and the Greater New Bedford Refuse Regional Refuse Management District to complete a plan in alignment with their plan. Currently, the district does not have a completed storm debris plan, management plan either. And, we've been in discussions with the district multiple times, and I have a meeting scheduled for next week to sit down with the director of the district and go over ideas and potential areas of concern and how we'd like to handle them. Mike Gagne and I also sat down and discussed regarding options of properties that we could use, whether it's private properties or town properties that we can use as laydowns or kind of, I guess, transfer stations for during, after a storm hits, depending on the area of the damage, right? So agreements with these areas, whether they're private or town owned, will be required for the purpose of emergency use for emergency transfer station for processing of debris material, whether it's construction debris, tree debris, and also, policies need to be put together for, private debris versus public debris. So, if it's trees and debris from public property, we handle that one way. If if there's debris from homeowners' property, what do we do with that? Do we maintain it, keep it on the private property so we don't overwhelm, our staff and our emergency services? Also, we'll be looking at, agreements with emergency contractors. We do have a current emergency or an agreement with a local contractor for rental of equipment operators, both for scheduled use and emergency use. And then we need to look at other rental agreements for emergency equipment, like our tub grinder here at the Water Pollution Control Facility probably wouldn't be able to handle that in an efficient manner. So if we had another piece of that type of equipment at a transfer station in another part of town where we could have that being processed in that area too, you know, it would be a lot more efficient. And we will also have to look at staffing these areas. So if we have an emergency and we have to go out and create temporary transfer stations to process debris and material, then we would need to staff these areas well and police them as well. So, you know, also looking at, you know, emergency work for tree companies, because our tree crew wouldn't be able to handle, a lot of damage. We just, you know, we had a smaller storm come through on July 3rd, and our staff did a great job. They came out. We had eight roads blocked by trees and down power lines and utility poles. You know, and they came through. They worked overnight with the utility companies, and they did a great job. But if it's we have a lot larger scale, we're going to need to probably call in an emergency tree company. While we do currently have a contract with a local tree company, we'll sit down and talk to them as well about, emergency responses for debris management and helping cleaning up the town during the storm.
Board members, any comments or questions?
No, thank you.
No.
I have one comment. Tim, I take it that you'll be collaborating with the town's emergency services people.
Yeah.
So that they're aware of what you're doing, and if they have any ideas, you can incorporate them as well.
Yes, we typically work well with the emergency management agency as well in town. Yep.
All right. If there are no other comments,
One thing I just want to mention, and with a new town administrator in Dartmouth, one of the things that's very important is that soon, since we are in the hurricane season, that maybe Tim could have a conversation with the town administrator about setting up the what I call the pre-hurricane meeting, and not generally the day before the hurricane, but like now, and go through what the responsibilities are going to be of each of the departments, including the DPW, so that they have adequate time to prepare and have on hand what they need well in advance of when we get a notification of a potential hurricane strike.
Mike, you and Ron have worked long enough with local jurisdictions. In my experience, from time to time, we would run desktop exercises in emergency response. Is that something that is done around here for hurricanes?
Yeah, we did it. We did it both in Dartmouth and in Mattapan. But one thing I've learned as time goes on, you do it well in advance of, when the possibility or when the warning starts to appear, because I found that there are certain materials and schedules and plans within those departments that have to be fleshed out, and they need time for that. So, but the desktop exercises are helpful, but as I said, well in advance of when we're going to get notice of a hurricane coming.
All right. Well, given the season, I guess the time to run that meeting is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had them in the past as well, and so we just had our new town administrator just started on July 14th. So I've had one kind of ice breaking meeting with him, and we'll have additional meetings. So this will be on the top of my list for priorities.
Yep, good call.
Derek, I mute him, I guess. Sorry.
All right. If you could keep us informed on that. And
Absolutely.
I would suggest you reach out to any one of us and see if any one of us might have the time to either participate or be pretty close to this process. I think any of your board members have enough experience to contribute, so.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, if we have nothing else on storm debris management, our next item is C, update the efficiency study. Tim?
Okay, so the former select board chair had requested a DPW efficiency study a couple years ago at a select board meeting, and the select board had recently requested the final report. Since the select board's request for the study, we consulted with Weston and Sampson in combination with the Abrahams Group, and we phased basically the study, and we included multiple rate studies because our priority was looking at our revenues, our expenses, and establishing rates and our capital expenses, and establishing rates for at least the next 5 years, and looking at 10 years, the next 10 years of revenues, expenditures, capital improvements, and debt schedules. The water and sewer rate study was prioritized first, and that was completed right before FY 25, so we could adjust the rates accordingly based on the recommendations of the study and the board's approval. After that phase was completed, we moved forward with the next phase, which was basically the solid waste and recycling rate study and fee study. So that program, we also looked at the rates and fees of the transfer station, bulky item pickup, our SMART program, the cost of bags, and the revenues, the debt schedules, and the expenditures in that program as well. And that was completed in December, just before the first of the year, so we could look at adjusting the fees for the transfer station at the beginning of the year, and then we adjusted the rates for the SMART program for July 1st. So this new program year, we would implement those adjusted rates. During that time with the solid waste and recycling study, we worked on an efficiency study, and Weston Sampson and the Abrahams Group both, came in to the department, and they interviewed multiple staff members to look at, processes that can be improved, are lacking, and basically the staff's point of view of the department in the town. So a study report from the interviews was submitted, and following that, a data analysis was also submitted for our review. At that time, we felt like we needed a stronger report, more data and more analysis. So working with Weston Sampson and the Abraham Group, they have submitted a number of options to amend our contract so we can complete the final evaluation report. But this time we felt it'd be good to bring it to the board to see what exactly the board wants to see in that efficiency study. So Ben Rollins is here from Weston Sampson, and I'll let him jump in and say hello, and if the board has any questions on that as well.
Hello, everyone. May I share my screen? Is that possible?
Please.
Okay, I just sent the request. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Okay, thank you. Can you guys all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Great rundown, Tim. So what I'm going to do, guys, I know this is a bit tough to read right now, but I just want to explain the outlay of this table first. So on the left-hand side, we have these first three columns here are the original contract. I'll zoom in here for a second. So we have the original contract broken down by tasks in the contract and a general description of those tasks. We have what is generally included in this original contract in this column. And then further along in the table, we have revisions 1, 2, and 3 as we work with Tim and Sandy to somewhat refine our scope to reduce the costs and just to try and fit within whatever budget you guys have for this completed work here. So how it's laid out is we have the original contract tasks over here and what was removed from bouncing from the original contract to the next revision. So I'm going to zoom into the original contract first to talk about this. So we'll start with the first tasks here, 2, 3, 1 through 6. That includes kickoff meeting, data requests, confirm 5 peer communities in the 2003 report are still comparable. Review peer communities with a Board of Public Works holding authority over the Department of Public Works and identify additional peer communities. Select 5 peer communities based on that evaluation that closely match Dartmouth. And then also select 3 alternatives as needed to outreach to them if the first 5 communities outreach fails. Then we're moving on to prepare general and per unit of output indicators utilizing the data provided by Dartmouth. Submit these data requests to 5 peer communities, and then also submit additional data requests to up to 3 alternate peer communities if needed. So large. This cost here is $60,000 for the original contract, and you bounce down to $39,000 because this original contract includes a prior evaluation of the 2003 peer communities that were selected. So not only are we just so for revision 1, we'd just be using those 5 same communities that we used back in 2003, but in this original contract, we planned to do an evaluation of all communities in Massachusetts really that are closely related to Dartmouth and try to find the 5 true peer communities to be able to compare to. So I'm going to continue along this task to revision 1. So in this revision 1, we removed the effort to reevaluate what those peer communities would be. And we're just accepting those same peer communities from the previous report. We are retaining the same service indicators as well, so the same cost per unit output as the 2003 report. There, along with those reductions, we are also reducing Weston and Sampson involvement. So the big hitter here is the Abrahams group. This is kind of what they focus on mostly, and we are somewhat of a, I don't want to call us a pass through, but we, like Tim said before, we mostly focused on the rate study and helping with the capital improvements plans and planning out items for the rate study, water and sewer, then all onto solid waste, etc. So revision 1 does include some Weston and Sampson involvement removal. And then also as part of revision 1, the town would also perform data requests and follow-up work, which might work better anyways, coming from the town of Dartmouth instead of the Abrahams group. It's always, if you guys all work for a town, so I would assume you're more likely to respond to another town asking for data and information request as compared to an outside consultant. But as part of this revision 1, we did transfer some effort over to the town from the Abrahams group. On to revision 2, we removed even more Weston and Sampson involvement. So this is minimal Weston and Sampson involvement. We would just almost step out of the picture entirely, and the town and the Abrahams group would work together directly. And then revision 3, we are reviewing no peer communities and minimum Weston and Sampson involvement as well. So reaching out to peer communities has been omitted entirely, and information data we already have or is easily attainable from the internet free sources will be used. And it's just a basic update to the 2003 report, comparing Dartmouth back in 2003 to Dartmouth today. So there's the first task. I'll break there. Any questions on that? Do you like how I'm kind of explaining this so far? Okay.
Just for clarification, these
Yep.
are the numbers shown at the bottom, 39, 29, and 13 would
Yep.
be the incremental cost to bring the study to completion with the changes you've described.
That's correct. Yes. So the cost of the original contract for the efficiency study, $60,000. Revision 1, the cost for the amendment would be $39,000.
Wait, no, 39,000 total cost or in addition to what the town has already paid for the rate study portion.
In addition to it, and that has already been paid out. So this amendment would be the total cost for $39,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. So there's quite a difference here. So 60,000, the original contract, there's quite a lot of effort with reaching out to other communities, doing the evaluation first. So that's why this cost seems inflated. You can reduce that evaluation to get to 39,000 and then reduce Weston and Sampson involvement and reduce the peer communities even further to get down to $13,000 here for this amendment cost. Those are the major changes. So I'll stop there with questions. I can share this little table I prepared last night with you guys, Tim, and you guys can discuss further, or I'd be happy to move through the full table if you want right now.
I just have, and excuse my ignorance, but what does an efficiency study do for the town of Dartmouth? I mean, this was requested by the select board. Is that how I understand this?
That is correct, yep.
Yeah. What is it? What is this information we're compiling going to provide for us?
I guess it would provide some metrics and data in a tabulated form to look at anything from roads, maybe roads paved to annually to tonnage of trash picked up, just
So it's going to compile the daily efforts of Public Works in all components of what we do and see if we're efficient at it, that it costs enough or too much or not enough. Or is that what this is going to provide?
I think.
I'm at a loss to understand why we're doing this.
basically because the select board requested it.
Can I make a comment on this following off of what Ron has just mentioned? I think one of the things over the years that I've seen when studies are completed and the reports are finalized is often a comment comes up. The question or comment is, well, it didn't address this and it didn't address that. My understanding is that we're going to be having some conversations with the select board next Monday, specifically on the agenda about this particular project and moving forward. I think would be very, very important is that the select board would basically put in some kind of written form what their expectations are out of the study so that we make sure that the folks at Weston and Sampson and the Abraham Group tailor the project task to meet the outcome of what they are expecting. I would only also add that the time I spent working for the city of New Bedford, the city of New Bedford under Mayor Mitchell has a performance and efficiency and metrics expert full-time on staff. And the mayor is very, very key to the issue of performance metrics and measures. And I had an opportunity to meet with Tim, and I would suggest that Tim reach out to Jamie Pont and get a copy of what they have for their performance metric system and the measurements. That I think would be very helpful to the outcome. But I think most importantly on Monday, we need to ask the select board, what is it that we're getting, to make sure that we get what they want in the outcome of the final document.
Yeah, Mike, I agree with you. I'm very, very well aware of that metric. Mayor Mitchell brought that in his first year as mayor. And it's something that, was a large effort and it continues to this day. And I think it's a great idea. how much of this did you do in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and you keep those records. But I'm looking at this criteria. Is that what we're doing? I mean, what is all the criteria? I mean, is this, how many trucks do we have? How many trips did they make to Crapo Hill? How many tons did they bring? How many, how many engines were fixed? How many streets were paved? How much line painting was done? How much crack sealing was done? How many phone calls did the office get? How many water main breaks are there? How many did they repair themselves? How much pipe did we lay? It's all of the daily activities of the department in its entirety that we would put together as the year went along and then submitted this report. Is that what this is? That's my question.
Hopefully we get that clarity in the direction from the board so that the final steady outcome has what the select board is looking for.
Yeah, so I guess in the 2003 report that was mentioned, and this was, I think the select board requested this back in 2003 as well. So the Center for Policy Analysis at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth completed that study at that time back in 2003, and their report included the comparisons of peer communities, but that may not be what's needed in this report. So, if we look at the original contract and the revisions, those include some comparisons with peer communities. But if we just want to look at Dartmouth and our metrics and that would probably be down to revision 1, where we're only including the data, from the town, and we're not looking at reaching out to other communities to compare, how many trucks they have, how many times did they plow, how much tonnage did they pick up, and bring to their landfill, because every municipality is different and they're structured differently. They may, a lot of communities have private haulers where we haul our own, we do our own utility repairs where a lot of communities may hire contractors. So there's a lot of differences. So it's hard to find, really comparable communities that do all the same.
Yeah, Dartmouth, as well as Bedford, plows all their own roads. So how many miles of roads do you plow in the course of a winter? That's a huge metric.
Right.
And you can go on and on and on and on, but to compare us to any other community, I just think it's not necessary.
Right.
If that's the metric that's going to be used, and I still, I read this and it's just unclear to me what it is. If that's what we're trying to accomplish, I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I came in on day 1 on that, but okay,
So if I can weigh in here, it seems to me that there are basically 3 pieces
4, yeah.
that I'm looking at this a little different.
Yep.
So there are the metrics and miles of road paved, miles of road plowed, tonnage, that kind of stuff. That's in essence a measure of what the taxpayers are getting for their dollar. And that's an important metric. And based on conversations I've had with the department, the data are collected, or most of the data we would be interested in are collected, but are not presented. All right. So there's a certain amount of work that it would take to do that on an annual basis, or however you want to do it. But that's one set of one view, if you will. A second view is, I think, how is the department organized? And that's a place where you can compare to other towns of similar size. And are there improvements to the organization? My impression of looking at the history is that some of the organization is around the personalities and the interests of people and how people have fit into getting things done, if you will. And, after a certain amount of years, the question is, can we do a better job? Is there a way to organize differently as people change? And then I think the third piece of this is how, let me think about how to state this. I may have to come back on this one. But I think the third piece is, are we as a town missing anything? And I think a good example is the discussion we had a few minutes ago about storm debris, and so that's another reason to look at the department and ask questions about what other towns do. But those are in my mind, kind of the big pieces. But back to the comments the other board members made, Tim, seems to me that what does the select board want out of this? And it hasn't been really clear. So I think
Sure.
the conversation we have on Monday, it'll be important, I think, to, if you will, help them understand what the different pieces of this might be. So they can think a little bit about what is it they really want, what's important to them from their perspective.
I agree.
All right. But again, let me emphasize that. I think, Tim, in your introduction to this, you ought to think a little bit about showing the select board what some of the answers that this could address and help them structure their own thinking so they can tell us what they want. I don't think they have a clear vision of what they want. I think it's that word, are we being efficient? Okay, well, a lot of ways.
One thing I'd like to add is when this was first presented to me some years ago, when I was a younger guy, it was like, are you kidding me? Was my first response. But after we started compiling the data and presenting it to people in the format that we had, it was exciting. It was, wow, we did all that. And it's all those little things that departments do that go unnoticed and unsaid. And when you put it in an annual criteria and you like a simple thing, like we swept 400,000 miles of streets and picked up 600 tons of debris in fiscal year, whatever. And people read that and they go, wow, these are busy guys. The department knows how busy they are, but the public doesn't. Or even sometimes elected leadership doesn't understand the enormity of the job. To me, that's what this is. I think that's what they're looking for. I don't, but anyway. I think it's a great idea in that context.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Any other comments or questions? So, Ben,
Yes, sir.
given the conversation we just had,
Yeah.
how much more material do you think we should review? And in the context of having a conversation with the select board on Monday, what do you think we should focus on? So there's two questions there.
Yeah, so can you clarify the first question for me?
Okay, how much, I know you got more material. How
do.
much more, given the conversation and the fact that we're going to talk to the select board on Monday,
Yeah.
how much more material do you think you want us to look at?
Let's see. So I think, Tim, you mentioned you shared with the Board of Public Works and I think the select board as well, the 2003 report. That's an important one to review first.
Yep.
You shared
Yeah.
that with them, right, Tim? Confirm?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I would also review the interview results as well. Mr. Chairman? Did you send that over as well, Tim?
I did, yes.
Okay. And then I think Mr. LaBelle had a great point. It's kind of refining what the select board is really looking for. So as far as other materials, I'm not too sure that we need any other major documents.
All right, and then in terms of your presentation today, is
Yep.
there more material you want to give us?
I can share with you the original contract amendment, which has the bulk of all of this stuff over here, which might inform your discussion with the select board on Monday.
Okay, you want to do that?
Absolutely.
Walk us through it.
The original contract?
Do you have that as a graphic you would put up, or?
Oh, so I can't make it on Monday, but I think this is a great start here.
Yeah, no, go ahead, I'm just gonna walk that all, show the stuff.
So so it's the right-hand side of the graphic you just gave us, and Tim, you provided that to us as part of the meeting materials, right?
Yeah, this has been a little updated since then.
It has, yep.
Okay,
I'll share this with you. This is a good document to bring to the select board
Absolutely.
here as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
all right. Okay,
Really great points. My final point here is the final solution might not even be here. I heard the peer communities, that doesn't seem as important. I mean, if you're willing to pull Weston and Sampson back in the picture, we'd like to be more involved than not. So maybe there's a middle ground we can meet as well. But I think clarifying the ask from the select board is a great next step.
Yeah, I was also, thanks, man. I was also gonna, kind of recommend that there might be kind of a combination of the revisions that could make up,
Yeah.
an amendment.
and I will add that there is a fair and plausible argument that the town should pay for a portion of the next evaluation.
Correct. And I've had a brief discussion with the town administrator about moving forward with that and funding the amendment. So,
All right. Okay, so to the extent that Ben.
Yeah.
You might give some thought about what you heard today and just quickly take some notes about how the original contract might be further modified.
Sure thing. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anything else on this item? Thank you for your time, Ben. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all.
thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Bye.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is old business item D, multi-unit housing developments, water and sewer.
So we've had a number of proposed developments in town for multi-unit housing, which is showing a large increase in flow and concentrated flows, both demands on the water and sewer. So just wanted to update the board that we currently have over 1,000 or about 1,074 units that have been proposed to the town with a total of 1,982 bedrooms with a combined flow of 218,000 gallons per day for sewer and water demand and flow. Currently, we have a 288 unit housing development that's currently installing sewer and water infrastructure, and they have a number of building permits for that project. We have infrastructure upgrades that we have advertised, and that general bid is due on August 1st. So we will be looking at bids for that upgrade project to upgrade the capacity of some of our sewer infrastructure to be able to handle the flow for that development. We currently also have an 89 unit housing development on Dartmouth Street. So they're not currently installing any infrastructure for utilities yet, but I believe they do have a building permit. And we've issued some will serve letters for water and sewer and some comments on the water and sewer demands, and they've worked with consultant Stantec on an evaluation of the sewer. And there was a recent revision that we had requested from Stantec based on discussions with Claremont on the Delano Apartments regarding the use of garbage disposals, because we recommend against garbage disposals because of the additional BOD, grease, maintenance, abrasives, and basically maintenance on the infrastructure. So based on conversations with Claremont, they stated that they will be installing garbage disposals in the 89 units. So I had given that information back to Stantec for them to revise their report to include the impacts of those being installed and any recommendations for upgrades. We're also discussing with Claremont on an agreement with Stantec on the water side to model the water to confirm that there is capacity and see if there are any recommendations for improvement to provide the water that they will have for demand in their development. It looks like Michael Phillips and Patrick Connie are both here from Claremont. If the board has any questions for them regarding this. We're also working on a right-of-way permit I just approved because they had done some work within the right-of-way of Dartmouth Street without permit. Once they got a foundation permit, they had excavated up to the sidewalk and installed a fence that ended up within the right-of-way. Since then, they have surveyed the property, they've installed the property stakes, and to confirm they were in the right-of-way, and they've applied for an after-the-fact right-of-way permit. Board members?
Tim, the comment I want to make is not specifically geared towards the project that Claremont is doing. I think I have raised this a few times, and that is the issue of looking at all of the projects that we know that are in various stages and what the cumulative impact will be if we put them all together versus segmentation, project by project. One of the things that I've discussed with Tim that we need to get a handle on, and we don't have it right now, is all of the sewer projects we did from 2000 to 2010. How many households are currently paying betterments for those sewer extensions, which are all of them are on betterments, and how many are not hooked in, and we can get a very comprehensive count on how many are in those particular areas, so we can add that to the factor of our evaluation, because sooner or later on whatever property transfer or system failure, they're going to come in. And I think we're finding from the work that the Buzzards Bay group did that some very old sewer projects from the 1970s still had people that weren't tied into municipal sewer in highly environmentally sensitive areas. So I know Tim has said that the Board of Health and Chris Michaud are working on this particular issue. We ought to ask Chris Michaud if he needs any assistance, and we have this conversation probably with the powers to be at Town Hall to get them that assistance so we get that information in a timely manner. And I will stress, this has nothing really to do with the Claremont, because they're in the process and I understand where they are at. But I think from, as they would say, from this point on, we need to get that information factored in, because from what I'm told and I have read, there are some very very big projects that are being considered in Dartmouth. And we need to know how much capacity we need to reserve for those that are already on sewer extensions.
Yeah, so back working with Buzzards Bay Coalition, and that project actually is what started the tabulation of the parcels in town that have sewer availability that are not connected, that are still on septic. And along with the Connect to Protect program that we're working with the Buzzards Bay Coalition on to connect a lot of those properties along the Buttonwood Brook and the Pontiac Bay and those watersheds that are impacting those bodies of water. So the Board of Health has been working on tabulating that, and based on their septic and our sewer connection accounts, and yeah, we always we're available to assist any way we can.
I'd like to add this one comment regarding what Mike just said on the betterments, and I'm sensitive to that fact of environmental concerns. But how long has it been since these betterments have been completed? And these homes have had ample opportunity and time, as I understand it, to make those connections. I've mentioned this in the past, that the town needs to be a little bit more aggressive. Where there is existing sewer, they should be connected, especially in sensitive areas. Holding back development in the town because everyone has failed to make those connections, secure that volume for them. I at this juncture is saying you missed the boat.
Yeah, so working with the Board of Health, so typically or historically, any mandated sewer extension by the Board of Health, the Board of Health would be able to mandate the connections, but historically any projects that were extensions that were not mandated by the Board of Health, they hadn't mandated the connections until I think of recent. They've been working on trying to get all the properties that have had sewer availability and betterments do move forward and connect. And this is mostly since the nitrogen removal regulations that came upon us from the DEP.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but reserving that right, I mean, they need to do it.
Yeah. Yep.
You just can't reserve it for another generation.
No.
So Tim, how does
This is also, I can also say that this has also been stated by, attorneys representing some of the developments that, just because you provided them sewer availability and they pay betterment, you cannot hold capacity for them. They need to connect to have that capacity.
Okay, it's
using
not
that
often
sewer.
I agree with attorneys, but I do now.
Yes.
Hey, Tim, the the comprehensive wastewater management plan has to include a discussion of this issue. Is that correct? I mean, that's
Yes.
kind of the central reason for doing this.
Absolutely.
So if we see the scope in August and the department is able to bring somebody on board, is the data that they are asked to compile and evaluate pretty much available? In other words, are we talking, once they get going on this, is this something that the data can be made available to us as the project is moving forward?
Yeah, it's currently a work in progress, that data. So we'll, like I said, I'll reach out to the Board of Health and see what how their progress is, and if they need any additional data from us.
And I believe I heard support for providing extra help for them to get this done.
Absolutely. We offered the same to Buzzards Bay Coalition. They came in one day in the office and started researching our records to do the same, and they said this is a huge, time load, and they couldn't handle it. So that's why I think the Board of Health took it over, and with our data.
That's all well and good, Tim, but we're gonna hire a consultant to do the work. And we ought to expect the work to get done, in some kind of reasonable time frame.
Yeah, and I mean, being fair to Chris Michaud and his crew there,
Right.
they have to deal with their staff levels. I think just Chris needs to tell us, what he needs as far as personnel to get it, as Rob said, in a timely manner, because it is important data.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
and,
important.
So we
and
have
and if
all
it's,
connections tabulated. So anything that has been connected that has an account, we have on record.
right, but I believe the conversation is about the properties that have not been connected.
Right.
Should be.
Correct.
And again, if if we're gonna have a consultant on board with a team, it seems to me that one or more members of that team could assist Chris in getting this work done.
Oh, they could, absolutely.
Yeah, and that should be an explicit part of the contract,
Yeah.
it seems to me.
Yeah, I've asked this question in the past, and I apologize, but Tim, would you know, or can somebody just get back to me? What's the current flow at the treatment plant, and what's the design flow?
Well, the design flow is it's an annual rolling average of 4.2 million gallons per day. So Dennis is here. I don't know if he has any reports of the current design flow. We do have flow and loading studies for the past 5 years from Stantec. It doesn't include this year, but
So the design is 4.2 MGD.
yes,
What's the
million MGD.
That's what I
Oh
said.
yeah, sorry, MGD.
Yeah, what's the current flow?
We're 12-month average is around 2.9, 2.98, right around 3. That's 12-month.
12 month,
average.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'll ask these questions later, because I'm looking at, what are the loadings now, BOD, things like that, but. Okay,
Can I just say that 4.2, design flow was set in the 90s. That this plant is not that efficient.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, and I point out that under new business, we're being asked to approve a flow and loading study.
okay,
So,
So also
getting ahead of myself.
that's all right.
so at 80% of that annual flow is 3.36 MGD, right? So once we hit that 3.36 MGD, the state can step in and they could issue a moratorium. They could require us to work on an upgrade immediately.
I've been through both of those.
Correct.
Yeah, and so that's the reason to get going on the comprehensive wastewater management plan. All right, Tim, anything else on this?
Not currently, no. Oh, actually, there is. I'm sorry. Moving forward, just more on the Delano Apartments. They had requested a phasing of the fees, so the board had required them to pay all the sewer and water fees and the mitigation fee. So I discussed with them that we could phase the mitigation fee, and as long as all the connection fees were paid upfront before the connections, we could allow the mitigation fee to be paid just before occupancy or at occupancy. So I put a request in with town council to develop an MOA similar to how we had developed an MOA for another multi-unit housing development to do the same. So we'll be sitting down with town council to refine that MOA for this development.
All right, can you give us, on that project, can you give us a little bit of a status report?
Either Mike or Pat, are you available to give us kind of a status report on the progress of your project?
Mike, you're on mute.
How about now? We
There you
okay?
go. We can
Yeah.
hear you.
All right, thank you. Mike Phillips, I'm the project representative for Claremont. And where we are now, the foundation is 85 to 90% done. The underground plumbing, the deep, for the sewer line is somewhat 60 to 70%. We're digging out the exit of the garage and we're stacking blocks to retain the dirt on the Solimar side. And we're waiting our final delivery date for the steel, which is going to be somewhat in August. Then we'll start going vertical. Somewhere the second or third week in August, we're expecting our delivery from Shawmut Steel. And fabrication of wood panels for framing is being started tomorrow.
Okay. Tim, back to the connections. Have you had a chance to review their design and so that whatever they're designing will connect appropriately with what's in the ground that the town has?
Yeah, the design has been reviewed for compliance with specifications and our regulations.
All right. And
There's
so that's
plenty-
all approved then?
Yeah, the connections aren't approved yet. We're waiting on the final report from Stantec for any mitigation or recommended upgrades.
There's plenty of capacity in the existing system to take that flow
There is current capacity, yeah,
in the pipe.
yes,
Okay, all right.
for the flow, yeah.
Has Claremont made a clear decision yet on whether that flow is going to come to Dartmouth or New Bedford?
Yes, we have. Would prefer it at this point because of things that have been done on the project to send it to Dartmouth.
Okay,
Because that would require a pump station, correct? To get over to the New Bedford line.
It would, and it would be, we can drill without a lot of disturbance on parking lots and so forth, but would prefer at this point to go to Dartmouth.
Any other questions, board members?
So,
I'm going to offer a couple of comments. I was disappointed with the early phase of the site work. I personally observed that there was excavation up to the very edge of the sidewalk, and there was some undermining that occurred as a result. And I also observed that there were some of the bracing for fencing, peripheral fencing, was actually on the sidewalk. I would offer that that there was an encroachment on the town property without a permit. I also noticed that the survey markers went in well after the start of construction, which I was pretty disappointed with. And so I hope that the rest of the project will be done in a way where you anticipate a little bit better what needs to be done and potential effects on the public. So that's all I'll say.
Thank you.
and I had received the final report from Stantec yesterday. I did forward that to the board for their review. And additional studies included, sludge handling, BOD, and the effects of the garbage disposal, on those as well.
When did you send that, Tim?
I received it late in the afternoon, so,
No, I got the email from you, but I didn't get the report. It wasn't
Okay.
attached.
all right,
Yeah,
let
could
me-
you resend that
I'll
to us,
resend
please?
that, absolutely.
All right, and there's no action required on that today, is there?
No, nope.
All right. Okay, anything else, board
Yeah.
members, anything else on multi-unit housing developments?
Rob, just one follow-up on your comment. And I know Claremont, and I'm very familiar with their projects dating back to the 1980s. They do a very nice job, certainly with their final landscape. And I would ask, and I saw that what Rob had pointed out, I would ask the folks at Claremont if they would look at addressing, that issue of, landscaping up along that area. We spent a lot of money on that Dartmouth Street project. And I think if we're able to make sure that the transition between their property and the sidewalk looks, sharp and clean, I think that would be great.
All right, if there are no other comments, we'll move on to.
Mr. Chairman. sorry.
Yes,
I just had one more update. So the town has recently also received, or the two other developments, with a total of, I think, 303 units, cumulatively have received eligibility status from Mass Housing to develop, multi-unit, affordable housing developments in town. Both I believe the Hawthorne site and the Sherbrooke, Old Westport Road site.
so we have, based on the table you sent us, we
Yeah.
have 4 40B projects that are, if you will, active. Is that correct?
One that is active in construction, 2 that have received eligibility status from the housing development. The Claremont development is not 40B. It's an over 55 development.
Right, but I'm looking at
Yeah.
the Preserve,
Yes.
Sherbrooke,
Yes.
Hawthorne,
Yes.
and Hathaway.
Hathaway has not yet received
Received
eligibility status.
eligibility. Yeah, all right. All right. All right, any other comments, board members? All right, let's go to,
Thank you, Patrick and Mike.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you for
Thank you.
being here. Old business E, amend FY 26 water and sewer rates, Tim?
All right, so the New Bedford, the city of New Bedford, met and approved, additional sewer base rates, on June 30th. Basically, which was after our last meeting that we approved all of the rate, increases. So that, I'd like to move forward and recommend that we adopt these sewer base rates, based on the letter sent, by the Commissioner of DPI on July 1st.
Okay, could you
That
give
would
us
be
those rates in dollar amounts, please?
Yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen. All right, can you see this, the rates?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so for the 5/8 inch to 2 inch, the annual base rate would now be $123.56. The 3 inch wastewater base rate would be $407.29. The 4 inch wastewater base rate will be $589.04. The 6 inch base rate would be $1,096.82. The 8 inch base rate will be $1,705.11. The 10-inch rate will be $2,413.90, and the 12-inch will be the same, $2,413.90.
Right.
The usage rate for at 7.61 per 100 cubic feet remains what they approved back in February and submitted in that our board approved last month.
So only the base rate is changing here.
Yes,
And you're asking us to approve the new base rates according to a July 1st, 2025 letter from the Public Information Infrastructure Commissioner of the City of New Bedford. Is that correct?
yes, that is correct.
All right.
All right, just one question, Mr. Chairman, just for clarity's sake. Roughly how many homes does this affect in the town?
That is a good question. I can get you that number. I'm not sure. I know it's a number along the list
I just don't want there to be confusion
Yeah.
for
for the rest of the town. Yeah,
the rest of
ratepayers.
the town,
Yeah.
that
So,
there's an
yeah.
understanding that, you know, these are homes serviced by the city of New Bedford, and they're in particular areas and at a, you know, I don't believe it's that many.
No, it's not.
Mr. LaBelle, Steve Sullivan, 715.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Nice to hear your voice.
Yeah. Any other questions, board members? All right. If there are none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the rate increase identified in a July 1st, 2025 correspondence from Infrastructure Commissioner Jamie Pont, City of New Bedford.
Do I have a second?
Second,
I have a motion by Mr. LaBelle and a second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes,
Chair votes yes, item is approved. All right, new business, approval of a new utility layer.
So just want to make a note that the approval is, it says A Jones Excavation, but it's just Jones Excavation. So Jones Excavation has been in business for 30 years and has submitted references from Onset Water, North Sagamore Water, and Plymouth, all positive references on their work on utilities. All their insurances and their bond is in order. I recommend approving Jones Excavation as a licensed utility layer in Dartmouth.
Board members, any questions?
just one, and maybe I'm reading this wrong, but North Sagamore Water District, Squanto Road, Sagamore Beach, Mass. To whom it may concern. There's no letterhead, there's no date, there's no phone number.
I did notice that, yes. And it could be worth reaching out to them.
I'm just curious about it. I read this and there is very little information here.
So I would, the motion that we would approve the drain layer permit for this company, subject to the superintendent affirming that, in fact, that's a recommendation from that particular water district.
I will second that.
Absolutely.
I have a motion by Mr. Gagne, second by Mr. LaBelle. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
Yes,
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes,
Chair votes yes, item is conditionally approved. Tim, just drop us a note with how this turns out, all right?
Will do, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll work on that today.
All right, next item is a proposed approval of Stantec flow and loading study.
Yes.
Tim?
So Stantec has been working on flow and loading study for the past year and for the WP water pollution control facility. And this agreement will allow them to, finalize their reporting. They've reported most of their studies with us throughout the work, and we would like to approve this, and this report, this will be funded out of the water pollution control budget, operating budget.
And Tim, presumably this will address some of the questions board members had earlier,
Yes,
and will also be a basis or part of the basis for the comprehensive wastewater management plan. Is that right?
yes. And so this agreement is to not exceed $15,000.
All right. Board members, any questions?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the time and materials contract not to exceed $15,000 for Sandtech.
I second it.
Moved by Mr. LaBelle, seconded by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes,
Chair votes yes, item is approved. Next item is item C, potential improvement of the Stantec water model on-call agreement for Delano New Developments.
So this was originally put on for the Delano departments, but this will be an on-call agreement that we use for all these large multi-residential housing developments. So it's basically a blanket on-call agreement with Stantec to evaluate hydraulic modeling for water and evaluate the capacity in the water system due to demand for each development. You know, each development is, you know, sized differently, so the cost estimates will vary, and based on the size of the development and the demand that they're drawing and the location of the developments. But it will streamline the process to allow us to move forward with these agreements. So in our comment letters and our will serve letters for water and for sewer, you know, we are requesting that the developer put up the funds ahead of time, and we'll use a 53G account that we can hold the funding once we get an estimate from Stantec, so we can request the estimate based on that agreement and the hourly basis, the hourly costs that they have in their agreement, and then they can quickly estimate the project and get it back to us. We can send that estimate to the developers. Once they fund that that analysis, we can then move into an agreement with the consultant, with Stantec, to move forward with that analysis.
Okay, board members, any questions?
no.
Okay, Tim, could you clarify at which point in that process or which points the Public Works Board would have an approval action?
So where I was moving to approve this blanket agreement, so we can move forward with these agreements, and if I can move forward with these, you know, depending on the date of the next board meeting, I would either bring it in before the agreement, or I can bring it in after we approve it, unless the board would like to look at each agreement separately.
But I'm going to rephrase my question.
Yeah.
What you're, and maybe I'm using the wrong words here. This to me feels like an on-call contract for specific purposes with agreed to hourly rates.
Yeah.
And that, if you will, blanket contract needs to be approved by the board.
Yes.
And depending on the nature of the approval, you, the director, may be authorized to move forward with agreements pursuant to that contract with certain limits. Is that
Correct.
what you're talking about?
Correct.
Okay, and is what you're asking for us to approve that contract, or are you telling us you're going to bring it to us?
Yeah. So you have the on-call agreement in your packet. We're looking to approve the on-call blanket contract so we can move forward with each development as they come in and be efficient and not hold up the projects at all and move forward with the studies.
Right.
Basically,
And the funding for this comes from
the developers.
the developers.
Yes. Yep. So at any point, if it didn't, we would come back before the board and discuss that. But this is to be funded straight from the developers. So we're
Right.
currently working with Claremont on this, as well as we have estimated the hydraulic analysis for the Hathaway as well. But this would be used for each of the developments that are proposed.
And this is water supply, not wastewater, correct?
This is, yeah, so there'll be a contract for each one. So this is just for the water supply.
All right.
And
Any other questions, board members?
No.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the on-call agreement not to exceed $4,000 with Santec Consulting Services.
so the $4,000 is actually for the Delano apartment.
Okay,
So if we want to
So-
agree, if we want to approve that agreement, we can approve that the agreement would for the Delano apartments as you stated, and then an on-call would be for all new developments.
so do I state Delano or just on-call?
You can state Delano for the not to exceed the $4,000.
Okay, that's stipulated then.
All right, so we've got a relatively narrow motion on the table. Let's vote on that
Yeah.
so we keep things as clear as possible. Do I have a second?
Second,
We have a motion by Mr. LaBelle and a second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
yes,
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes,
Chair votes yes. So the agreement for Delano Apartments not to exceed $4,000 has been approved. Now, do I have a motion on the on-call agreement in general?
motion to approve an on-call agreement with Santec Consulting Services. And is there a value associated to that?
At basically as stipulated in the contract for the hourly services in the labor category. I can go through them. For the principal, it's $240 to $285 per hour. For the project manager, senior project engineer, it's $195 to $240 per hour.
All right, so as stipulated,
yeah.
in the hourly rate and expense schedule.
Correct.
Okay,
All right, do I have a second?
on the second on this, I just want to make it clear that we're approving for the performance of the work, but the ultimate findings and outcome and the reports will be a subject of discussion between the board members and the superintendent before the permits are issued. That's my, correct?
Absolutely correct.
All right, then I second the motion for the material, for the on-call services as specified by Ron's motion.
So I have a motion by Mr. LaBelle and a second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
Yes,
Mr. LaBelle?
yes,
Chair votes yes, item is approved. Item D, potential approval, Stantec sewer analysis on-call agreement.
So I've been working with Stantec to get us a blanket on-call agreement for the sewer evaluation as well. So I'm still waiting for that document, so I recommend that we continue this approval until our next meeting.
Do I have a motion to continue?
motion to continue.
second,
I have a motion by Mr. LaBelle, second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
yes,
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes,
Chair votes yes. Item is continued. Next item is potential approval, 337 Lucy Little Road sewer betterment amortization. Tim?
All right, so let me just bring up. Sorry. Okay, here we are. So let me share this. All right, can you see the scheduled bills, receivable abatements? That is shared currently?
I see it, yeah.
I
Okay.
see it. Yeah.
All right, so this property, a little history, this property at 337 Lucy Little Road was serviced by sewer in 2009. And issued a sewer betterment assessment of $15,884 at that time, as listed on this page. At that time, the former property owners had applied for an abatement to the Board of Public Works of the abatement of the sewer betterment due to a letter from the building commissioner at that time. I'll bring this up right here, stating that the lot were not buildable at that time. So due to the lot not being buildable and the information that was submitted to the Board of Public Works on 11/25/2009, the Board of Public Works approved the abatement of the $15,884 sewer betterment and noted that the fee plus interest would be due should the lot become buildable. The current owners purchased the property in 2017, and at that time they were told that the lot was not buildable. Recently, on June 2nd of 2025, the property was and the owners were given a building permit for this parcel. So the property is now buildable. So we calculated the assessment plus the interest, which was, we included a 4% interest, which was the interest that was on that project back in 2009. And the total assessment with the included interest to date was $25,847.84. The property owner requested at the time of receiving that amount requested that we amortize the payments through taxes as we typically do through the sewer betterment process. In discussions with the property owner, I recommended that out of the $25,847.84 betterment assessment, we remove $3,000 of that, which would be the connection fee to the sewer, and that they pay that connection fee up front prior to connecting to the sewer, with the additional connection fees, and that the town amortize the remaining balance of $22,847.84. So I've spoken with the finance director, as well as the assessor, or the acting assessor, and in the town collector, and there seem to be no issues with amortizing this payment, and the finance director approved the amortization. So we're looking
Board
for,
members, any questions?
so we're looking to approve. So I recommend approving the amortization of the remaining sewer betterment charge of $22,847.84.
Board members, any questions?
No.
I've got a couple of questions, Tim. How many years is the amortization period of the remaining balance? Is that 20 years, 30 years? Do you
Typically, I
know?
think they're around 20 years.
Okay.
And they can be up to 30 years, I think. So,
And is that determined by the assessor's office, or who figures that out?
I think with the finance director and the assessor's office determine that.
Okay, and then what's the basis for subtracting the connection fee?
So typically, when a betterment is abated and then or deferred and then comes back years later, we typically require the full payment of the assessment at that time. So and our normal sewer connection fee is $3,000. So with the property owner stated that they couldn't afford to pay the full 25,000. You know, they were expecting to pay a connection fee, but not the full $25,000 abatement or betterment. So I discussed that they pay the $3,000 connection fee. That's for any typical sewer connection up front prior to the connection, and then amortize the rest of the betterment, and they agreed.
Right, but I understand what you're doing, but is there a precedent for removing the connection fee from the required amortization amount? Have we done that before?
No, and I can't recall amortizing any abated or deferred betterment either.
All right, so in both cases, both the removal of the $3,000 connection fee from the betterment and the amortization of the betterment fee, in both cases, we're setting precedents.
Yes, and typically when we do assess a betterment to properties based on the sewer main installation and services, we include that basically the connection fee is included in that betterment assessment.
So the connection fee was actually part of the original $15,000.
Yes.
Okay, so then given that information, it makes sense that it be taken out of the connection fee. I mean, that the connection fee be taken out of the amortization.
Yes.
All right.
And that, excuse me, but that was paid, correct?
Yeah, so the $3,000 was paid. They're
Okay.
just looking to amortize the $22,847.
The balance.
In 84 cents. Yes.
All right. Do you have a sense of whether and how this affects the Connect to Protect program? In other words, are any of the projects in Connect to Protect?
This project isn't. It's not over along the Buttonwood Brook area,
Yeah, right.
or the Pontiac Bay.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm asking more a general question about are there any potential projects in Connect to Protect that have betterment that may be requested to be amortized?
So typically, that's a choice of the property owners. When they receive the betterment, they can pay it up front or they can amortize it. So we haven't currently come across any of the Connect to Protect properties that have been abated or deferred at this time.
Okay, and this is a special case because at the time the betterment fee was, if you will, deferred, the lot was considered unbuildable.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Board members, any other questions?
Oh,
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the amortization betterment fee of $22,847.85 for 337 Little Lucy Road.
84 cents. Sorry.
84.
second,
I have a motion by Mr. LaBelle and a second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Item is approved. Item F, summer hours policy. Tim?
So back in the last meeting, Bob Chico had requested that we allow the Department of Services and Infrastructure to work summer hours to beat the heat and start early at 6 a.m. rather than 7 a.m. Both picking trash, construction, and fleet management and highway. In my research with this and discussions with the Director of Human Resources as well, we found that the town has a bylaw currently that it's a noise bylaw that prohibits the emptying of trash receptacles, operating of power tools or construction or demolition other than emergency work in residential districts in town. So to move forward with this, we will discuss, I will discuss further with the town administrator and probably with town council, because the bylaw may need to be amended to allow for this.
Tim, as I was reading through the bylaw, I stumbled across section 250-5, subsection B, and I'll read it. Any enforcement official for good cause shown and with appropriate conditions as to reasonably minimize any adverse impacts on the public may grant a permit allowing activity that would otherwise violate this bylaw.
Correct.
From my perspective, it seems to me that this board for good cause could issue the DSI a permit to operate or to begin at 6 a.m. To protect the health and safety of key town employees, and that the director be authorized to permit this 1 week at a time based on weather reports. So with that, I would like to know why we couldn't do that today, except that it's not, this item is not noticed for approval. But it seems to me this board or the health department, either one, could authorize this request.
So we can put it in writing in an agreement or in a policy that it be on a week-to-week basis, depending on the forecast of high temperatures.
Now, is there any complaint by either the union or any individual workers?
Not currently, but
All right.
we would go forward with the union rep. We would submit to the union rep a policy.
All right. And so the policy would then come back to this board for approval?
Correct.
All right.
So
And
do we want to note a specific temperature?
nope,
No. Okay.
I think excessive heat and leave it up to the director to take into account both heat and humidity.
All right.
I thought about temperature and I was thinking 90 degrees or 95 or whatever, but you know what? Humidity makes a big difference. And so
It does.
I think it's probably one of those things where you deal with it a week at a time. And frankly, this is a personal opinion. If the department gets or the director gets it wrong and it's not quite as hot as it was forecast to be, so be it. That's my
I agree.
personal opinion.
I agree.
So, and I think maybe you could consult with Chris and see if he has any issues, and if he does, you could bring any concerns he might have back to the board when we approve the policy. And I'll note that it's, by the time we get to this, the proverbial 2025 summer horse will be well out of the barn, I'm afraid. But I think this should be a policy for the future, given the way we're seeing temperatures go.
I agree. And if any amendments are needed, we'll work on those as well. So
All right.
I'll work with both Board of Health on the noise bylaw and any concerns, as well as the town administrator, town council and the HR director.
You know,
only-
I think it'd be smart to try and avoid a bylaw change. Do this within the existing bylaw, and if, you know, I think the two departments most likely to issue permits would be this one and public health.
Correct.
The only comment I would make is that we will have to get information out that, you know, trash pickup will be starting an hour early.
Yeah.
During the summer, because some folks have problems with crows getting in those orange bags. They don't put the orange bags out until 7 in the morning. But I think we need to just tell them they'll have to have them out by 6 o'clock instead of 7 each day.
That's gonna
It's
be a
not,
problem.
it's not isolated to crows, you know, definitely other animals and wildlife as well.
Yep.
You know, you can't just tell them to sleep in, huh? Don't you wish?
Good.
All right.
I like that policy. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so you'll bring that back to us, Tim?
Absolutely.
All right. Next
May I
item,
ask one question, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
This was, item B,
item
250-5,
item F,
yes,
Item F, yeah.
F.
F.
Okay, next item is item G, roadway maintenance.
All right, let me bring that up on the screen so I can share it. All right, and you see my road maintenance funding for, or road reconstruction funding for 2025?
Yep.
Yes,
All right, so our 2025 road maintenance program is in full swing. Road milling in prep is currently underway and is planning to continue through the end of July and through the first week of August, with paving scheduled to begin August 4th. We have sent out notices for this work and we update the schedule as our contracts update their schedule. So we have a calendar update that we submit to town hall and then we put up on the website. And in addition to the public notices that were sent out for each area that we'll be working on. Currently, these are the number of streets that we're working on in this list. We have project totals, so we're currently programmed for just over 2.9 million in road reconstruction this summer. With 1.3 million programmed from Eversource, 670,000 programmed from capital improvement, and 1.2 million scheduled from Chapter 90. We currently don't have any work. We do have 260,000 in our fair share plan from the state that we'll be using for projects. And we also plan to, have move forward with additional projects late summer and into fall. So if we scroll up here, we have a micro sealing project for the Marymount area, so which includes crack sealing and micro sealing. That's about what we have, about 39,561 square yards. We have milling and paving projects, which are all these streets listed here. And then we have our crack seal list of roads that we plan to crack seal as well.
Tim, when is Eversource gonna do their curb to curb resurface on Slocum Road?
So Eversource actually, so how we work with Eversource Gas is they submit the permit request for the work. And then we calculate the estimate to complete the reconstruction of the road. And typically, if a road is not under moratorium or we will issue them basically 50% of that. So they will be, the cost would typically be a shared cost. So they would pay 50%, we would pay 50%. For Slocum Road, they're required to pay the full because we had a moratorium due to the surface treatment. So their cost is for the curb to curb reconstruction or repaving of Slocum Road, where they're not taking on the work, they're paying the bill, and we contract with our paving contractor, currently PJ Keating, to do that work. And typically we program this work about a year after completion of the project because of compaction and density concerns with their backfilling and compaction of their trenches. So basically they maintain that trench for a year. When we reach out to them, you know, if they're not maintaining it, we give them a call and ask them to maintain it. So they should be finished, you know, with this work, let's say, you know, end of the month or beginning of August. And so probably next summer, we would plan to mill and repave that section of Slocum Road.
The only concern I have, Tim, is I understand certainly, you know, waiting a year for the compaction issues. But there's some leveling and surfacing that they need to do on some of those trenches because they're already having settling and they can't leave them in that manner with the amount of traffic that goes down that road and also Longwood, which heads down toward Shaw's.
That'd be Lexington, yeah.
Lexington, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you know, among us, we will be commenting and asking them to go out and maintain their trench. And I'm sure they'll hear it from other parts of town as well, including the select board, because, you know, that's a main road through Dartmouth and goes right by town hall. So everybody drives that when they go to town hall if they're coming from the north.
I mean, if they can't level that, they ought to be saw cutting out those patches, tacking the edges, and relaying them with a professional so that you know, people at least get some minimization of the rumble on that road.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Any other comments, board members? Okay, so I want to point out that, first of all, there's a lot of good work here. And second of all, the way you've got it organized is perfect for doing the kinds of public outreach we were discussing earlier.
Right.
And demonstrating how the people's tax dollars are being spent and how much work the department's getting done.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
And I will reach out today to Eversource to discuss the maintenance of their trench.
Okay.
All right. Next item on our agenda is committee updates. Board members, any committee updates?
Nope.
I have nothing.
I do. The Major Capital Projects Committee has met and set meetings, series of 3 meetings in September. That is the Public Works Board's main meeting is on the 25th of September in the North Library. The focus will be to discuss water, wastewater, and highway. We will need to discuss an outline at our next meeting, and the idea is to talk about projects, how they, the schedule for major projects and how they would be funded. Again, I'll bring Tim and I will work up an outline for the board's discussion at our August meeting.
Great.
And I know, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I would only ask, Rob, on that we would, make sure we add to that any report Tim can give on the issue of handicap accessible sidewalk and sidewalk intersection aprons for handicap accessibility. And get them to look at the inclusion of a road replacement and repair plan as part of the overall capital plan. I had an opportunity to talk to a couple of select board members about it. They thought that in fact that was an important factor. So I would say that's excellent that we're going to have a chance to go meet with them. And I think we need to focus that inclusion on their overall plan.
Okay, so Tim, you and I will work up an outline and maybe a draft presentation
Absolutely.
over the next few weeks and bring that back to the board. I want to also point out an unfortunate conflict with that meeting. The Buzzards Bay Coalition has been developing models for sediment transport along the mouth of Buzzards Bay. They've finished one phase of this modeling, which looked at the effect of the causeway on sand transport and changes in what Westport calls its East Beach. The history of that area is pretty well known. The beach, which once supported development of a number of homes in that area, which were wiped out by the 1938 hurricane, is now mostly seasonal homes that are removed during the winter. There is primarily a cobble beach there. There is some sand depending on what time of season. But the conclusion of the first phase of that modeling is that the causeway has not caused the loss of sand, and that it's a phenomenon more of natural currents that occur. Tim, I'll send you what I have of that material and you can forward it to the board members.
Thank you.
However, the more important element of their presentation in the late afternoon of proposed schedule of the 25th of September has to do with modeling from Westport, their East Beach area up to and including the mouth of Slocum's Estuary. And the history of Slocum's Estuary is that there's a sandbar that exists at the mouth of the estuary. And the estuary has been identified over the years as having a nitrogen level problem, which may or may not continue to exist given changes over the years. But I think the issue of sand accumulation at the mouth of that estuary is actually a fairly important issue that the town needs to be aware of. The natural process of development of a salt marsh typically includes estuaries losing their tidal prism and the slow accumulation of sediment and organic material behind the bar. And if that's what's going on in the estuary, that's a big area to see that kind of a change, particularly with the number of docks and boats in that immediate area. So anyway, I just flagged that. I've asked Buzzards Bay if they can reschedule their meeting so people don't have to choose one or the other. I don't know. I haven't heard anything back from them.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add one thing to that. I agree with you completely about the sandbar issue in the Slocum Estuary. but there's very little attention being paid to the same problem in the Little River estuary that I'm aware of.
Tim,
I-
any questions or additional comments?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't know you weren't there.
Yeah.
I'd like to just point out that the same problem exists on the Little River estuary. And that those same problems exist with nitrogen buildup because of the lack of adequate flushing during tides. And at some point, somebody, I would hope, would be taking a look at that.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of issues, a number of issues in these estuaries. One is the loading of nitrogen, but also how much management do we do of these systems compared to what's going on with sea level rise and other factors. So this modeling is an important piece of trying to understand what opportunities we might have. So, Tim, I'll send you what I have so far, and then I'll let you know what I hear back from the Buzzards Bay Coalition about rescheduling that presentation.
Okay.
Right, that's all I have for committee updates.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, we'll go to the director's update. Tim?
So, so now that we're at the end of our meeting, I just wanted to introduce Jen for Lance. Jen's on the meeting. She's our new administrative assistant. She started with us on July 1st, and she's coming up to speed on everything DPW. So, wanted to welcome Jen to the team. And moving forward with personnel, we hired a new utility billing clerk. We've been without a utility billing clerk for quite a while. So Chrissy started on Monday this week, the 14th, and the 24th, and she's working on settling in over at the water department, and we'll be working on training for her for the billing process with our Munis consultant. We're also still working on kind of getting approval for an MOA with the unions to move the second utility billing clerk position from town hall and over here to DPW, so we can move forward with filling that vacancy as well. That has not yet been approved, but our new HR director is working on that and trying to get a response from the laborers union. I think it's both the laborers union and the DTA union haven't been responsive.
Can Tim, on that particular matter,
Yeah.
I strongly encourage the HR director and you to look at the rights of management under both of those contracts, and help identify to them that the issue of management by moving employees to effectuate work is a right of management, and I think they just need to be reminded of that.
I think the biggest issue is they're in a different union currently.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to get an MOA with both unions to move that position out of the DTA union and into the laborers union.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So in the past, a little history, the former town administrator refused to fill that vacancy of the second billing clerk. And basically the second billing clerk is a backup for the first billing clerk. They work as a team. We've billed biannually for years for water and sewer, and we were moving forward to start on July 1st with our quarterly billing. And because our utility billing clerk left and we didn't have a backup, we couldn't move forward with the quarterly billing. So we're gonna bring this utility billing clerk up to speed. I'd like to fill that second vacancy, and that second billing clerk will be working on utility billing, water and sewer, as well as the SMART program billing. And then also a floater for helping other clerical staff. And if, you know, and since the former administrator hadn't filled that position, this has happened about 3 times. You know, we've had a lot of movement, a lot of turnover in that position, and there's never a backfill for that position. So I've stressed this importance, and hopefully we can get this completed within the next month.
Okay, Tim, any other issues? How are we doing with heavy equipment operators?
So we're currently in the process of hiring an HMEO who has previously actually worked in the DPW. So he has 21 years in the town. So he left for a few years and is coming back. So we're moving forward with hiring him. And the great thing is, you know, there wouldn't be any training required. He's very experienced as a driver. So we're looking forward to finalizing his hiring and get him in the department. We currently, so that with bringing him in, I believe that leaves us with about 3 vacancies in HMEOs. 2 vacancies still in the SMEOs and the hoisting engineering positions.
You're on mute, Rob.
I got some household
There you go.
issues going on. Any questions from board members?
On a different subject, I had talked with Tim about the issue of coverage at the transfer station on Saturdays. If you've had that opportunity to go there, it's somewhat of a very busy location, and I'm concerned that the 2 individuals that work there may not be sufficient just on Saturdays. And I know Tim has asked Paul Pacheco to evaluate it along with, you know, the other folks at the DPW to look at that particular issue. And my concern is that when it's busy as it is, individuals are throwing things in certain locations that don't belong in those locations. And I serve on the refuse district, so it's sort of my area of concern. And I would ask that maybe they could report back at our meeting in August how they might address that situation, just by the sheer volume of people that are there on Saturdays.
Yep.
Rob, you're on mute again. You're on mute, Rob.
Yeah, Tim, it also raises the question of the physical design and capability of the or capacity of the transfer station. If in fact we continue to find things that we want to handle through the transfer station, I realize we're not handling that much styrofoam, but I'll use that as an easy example. On the weekends, is the station and its design adequate? That's kind of an open question, and maybe we need to have a conversation about that.
So just, you know, kind of let you know, it's not stuff that we want to handle. Typically any banned items, any items that are banned from solid waste, we have to provide that notification to the residents, and we provide, you know, recycling for them, so it's not going into the solid waste stream. So typically anything that's banned by DEP in the solid waste, we try to provide outlets for them, for the residents. And regarding the physical design and capacity, you know, I think during the week, for the most part, it works well.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, on Saturdays, it gets extremely busy. So, you know, we tend to run into traffic jams, you know, on Saturday. It can be, yeah, it can be, you know, we can have some safety issues there. We've have had in the past.
You're on mute again, Rob.
Any other questions or comments, board members?
Yeah, I can mute people, I just can't unmute you.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm good.
I'll leave that comment alone. I presume I'd be the target, so. All right, if there are no other comments, Tim, is there anything else you have for us?
I do, yeah. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on the storm debris cleanup again, for the July 3rd storm. No, I really want to recommend our staff, that storm hit us at, kind of bad timing where all the staff had just left work, that afternoon to go into a holiday weekend and enjoy their relaxing holiday weekend. And, all hell broke loose. Storm came in pretty quickly. There's a lot of damage to trees and power lines. Amongst other stuff, I'm sure there was quite a bit of property damage. I know we had one tree that uprooted from under a sidewalk, and the sidewalk actually uprooted as well, and the tree landed on a vehicle. So there was definitely quite a bit of damage out there, and our crews, our main tree guy, he actually lost power at his house, went out and looked and saw that there was a tree down across the utility line. He called himself in. He called his supervisor and said, "Hey, you guys are going to need me. You want me to come in? I know there's at least one tree down with power lines." So that, that basically started the effect. We brought in multiple crews. These crews worked hard all night long. We worked with Eversource to schedule shutdowns of power so they can remove trees and branches to make all the roadways accessible. We had about 8 roadways that were actually blocked. They worked, overnight and into Friday afternoon, kind of creating access to all the streets in town, moving all the debris that they weren't taking away off to the sides. And additional staff came in on that Saturday and Sunday as well. So I just wanted to, state that, they did a great job, and I commend them for coming in and doing that work on their holiday weekend, when we needed them. Rob, you're on mute.
You were able to give them credit at the select board, is that correct?
I plan to at the select board meeting to do that as well.
All right, yeah, I think that would be a good idea. By the way, we have a joint meeting on Monday?
We do. I have an email from the select board's office, and I sent that to my staff so we can advertise the joint meeting today. So with the executive session and one item on the executive session and 2 items in regular session.
All right, and what time do we need to be at the select board meeting room?
5:30 p.m. will be executive session. So they'll start in public session and then go to executive session at that time, and then carry on. Typically around 6:30 they start the public session.
All right, so we would be there for both the executive session and do you know yet where we are on their regular agenda? In other words, is the joint meeting gonna be right at the beginning of their agenda so that when they get done with their part of the meeting that includes us, that they can then continue their regular agenda?
I haven't seen the regular agenda. I've only seen what they sent me regarding the joint agenda. So let me see if I have that.
All right, well, it would make sense for the joint meeting to happen right at the beginning of the regular session.
Yeah.
All right,
I agree.
okay,
But as soon as I have all that information, I'll send it over.
all right. So we will be live on Monday.
We will be live. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, board members?
No.
All right, and the purpose of the joint meeting is to discuss your contract, Tim,
Yes.
and approve it. And also there seems to be a question about the efficiency study. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and both of which we should be pretty well grounded with. Are there any other items that are on the joint agenda that you know of?
Not on the joint, no.
All right. Okay. Board members, any questions or comments? All right, so I
Did
can
you get
actually
the
say
information I sent you? Mr. Chairman?
that you sent to me.
Yes.
Refresh my memory.
The issue with the director's contract.
I'd have to look.
Okay,
Um,
well, you should have gotten it.
Yeah.
You had asked me to give you what I had during the interview process.
Oh, yes, the background.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
yeah, and that's all part of what we considered over the course of several months of discussions. Yes, I did get that.
Okay, I
And
just wanted to make sure.
yeah, and that comports with my records and is all available out there through the minutes and various attachments.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry
good.
to interrupt.
Yep,
Okay.
thank you. I'm sorry to be a little slow, you know. All right, anything else, board members?
No.
All right, with that, I will
Mr.
entertain a
Mr.
motion to.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
sorry, still working on updates. Next, I just wanted to update the board. We had 2 water main breaks that were repaired this week. You know, of course, that'll be on our, you know, in our metrics. So on Reed Road, we had a pretty large main break reporting on Saturday. It was a 16-inch valve that the department went out, you know, basically led by, you know, Paul and Derek did a great job. Removed the top of the valve, replaced a gasket that had blown out on a valve with, you know, one of our vendors had taken apart one of their valves to get us a gasket. This was all on Monday, and they replaced that gasket on that valve and got it tightened up and back working. So that was a basically it was shut down the water for a day in certain areas for that. Yeah, but they on-call staff had come out on Saturday to assess the leak and had throttled down the water main to get that under control and to leave the residents with water service throughout the weekend, so we can get dig safe and work on setting a crew up for Monday. So they did a great job. You know, really got in there and got the work done, got the repair completed. They did a great job. And also yesterday at our facility out front on Russell's Mills Road, the T servicing our facility had been leaking as well. It wasn't a large leak, but it was increasing. They dug that down yesterday on the AC service line for both Russell's Mills Road and our line. They got the old T out and valve and replaced that all and got that all back up and running by 3 o'clock yesterday. So again, they did a great job out there getting it all repaired and service back on. They actually, you know, they throttled down everything to allow us to remain active here at the office. So they didn't shut the water down till about 11 a.m. And that, you know, at that point we decided to close the office due to lack of facilities here for water and allowed some of the staff to go home if they needed to. And lastly, with the new town administrator, we discussed some permitting updates. So we're working on setting a meeting again to sit down and look at efficiency of permitting and moving forward with the online permitting. So that meeting is I think being scheduled to take place next week.
all right, so Tim, presumably at that meeting, you'll talk about the software and the ability to hold permits until the department has its appropriate review completed?
Yeah, it'll be more working on all departments kind of working together and communicating on permits and you know why certain departments may want to hold in permitting for specific reasons, whether it's water, sewer, capacity, lack of stormwater permit. You know, there's multiple reasons. So that will be part of the discussion.
Yeah, and a lot of that is in the bylaws, is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Board members, any other questions?
Just two quick comments, Mr. Chairman. First, welcome Jen Lance. I never got a chance to say that earlier. Welcome to the team. You're much needed. The other comment is, you know, when you look at storm events like we got last week, and it's a holiday weekend, and everybody's anticipating having a great time, and everybody's home looking out the window saying, boy, is it raining hard out there. That's when we all should take a step back and truly appreciate, you know, the Public Works team, because that's when they're the best at what they do. And in effect, they are a first responder, like other organizations, and they're out there when it's very dangerous. And they miss their families. They're out there in snowstorms, windstorms, hurricanes, and they're professionals and they're good at what they do. And I just want to make sure that, you know, me as a board member, acknowledge that and let them know it's greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, I think this board universally understands what that kind of a sacrifice is and appreciates, I'll use Ron's term, the professionalism of the people who do that work. You know, that everything from, you know, repairing water main breaks to dealing with down trees and lines, all of that stuff that happens at inconvenient times and under inconvenient circumstances gets addressed. And I agree. I think it's we just need to keep telling those folks they do good work and we really appreciate them. So, all right.
Absolutely.
Rob, before we go, and I know Dartmouth News covers our meetings and the important things that we raise, the organic materials recycling project at the transfer station's going along, I think, quite well and seems to be going very smoothly. I just wanted to remind, maybe the newspaper could do a little something, that there are kitchen top counter containers and there are 5-gallon compostable, food waste buckets that are available for free at the administrative building, DPW. And now with people going in and getting their new transfer stickers, it's a good opportunity for them to ask for one of those buckets or those kitchen countertop containers and participate in that program. So if you're planning on getting your transfer sticker in the near future, think about grabbing one of those and contribute your materials to the program run at the transfer station.
Right. And we also offer through the district rebates on or reduced costs on backyard composting bins as well. So if anybody wants to use those for backyard composting, and for also we also offer through the district food cycler, which is basically a countertop food dehydrator that residents can use and purchase currently, I think, at a reduced rate as well, and to dehydrate food and create a material that can be added to your compost. It's not considered compost, but it can be added to your compost or thrown in the trash, and it'll reduce your solid waste. And if you can't make it to the transfer station to dump your food waste, that's another option.
Great, thanks, Tim.
You're welcome. Rob, you're on mute. I just
Okay.
had one more update before you close out.
All right,
Just to let you know, the select board has approved and forwarded, this week a vehicle use policy. So I will distribute that to the board to review, and we can discuss any comments on it at our next meeting.
The only question, Tim, is it an adopted policy or a policy we're looking for comments on?
No, I think they approved it. It's an adopted policy by the select board.
Did they contact you to get some input on that?
They did not. I requested a copy of the draft, and I was told that we would, once the select board approved the policy, they would submit it, they would distribute it.
have you had a chance to look at it, Tim?
I have not yet.
All right,
It just came in, so I'll review it, and any comments that I have, I'll relate to the board.
yeah, if anything in there seems counterproductive from the standpoint of Public Works, could you bring that back to us at our next meeting and maybe we could suggest some revisions?
Absolutely. Will
As
do.
needed?
Yep.
Okay,
And lastly, before we close out, our next meeting, we can typically the third Thursday of the month, so we would be looking at August 21st.
given that it's summer, board members, any issues with August 21st?
No. No. No.
Nope.
Tim, is there anything that needs to be signed there by a board member?
Yeah, we do have the warrants payroll.
Okay,
We didn't have any meeting minutes, but definitely warrants and payroll.
Hey, Ron, since you've got family in visiting you, I'm 2 minutes away from there. Why don't I just run over and take care of those signatures for you?
okay.
All right.
What up? No, everybody's gone, Mike.
Oh, okay.
It's very quiet here.
All right. I'll take care of it anyways.
Very good, thank you.
All right, Tim, anything else?
That is it for today.
Okay, anything else from board members?
No.
I'm
All
good,
right.
thank you.
Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have
Okay.
a We have a second. We have a motion by Mr. LaBelle and a second by Mr. Gagne. Mr. Gagne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. LaBelle?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you all for your time and we'll see you Monday.
Very
Got it.
good.
See you Monday. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good day, everybody.